The danger in the church is when we start looking and we say that the church has to grow, and we start trying to make it grow in our way. We try to make it grow the way we think it should grow, and to the level that we think it should grow. But what does Jesus say in Matthew? He says, what? Who's going to build his church? Who's going to build Jesus' church? Come on, we just read it. Jesus. Jesus is going to build his own church. It's Jesus that's going to build the church. Now, I want to kind of talk about this church growth movement that came along in the 1980s. This was the beginning of the mega churches. And the idea was, and the logic was, that, the mission of the church is to what? To reach who? People. Yeah. The mission of the church is to reach people. And reaching more people for Jesus is better than reaching fewer people for Jesus, right? The more people we reach, the better it is. That was the logic. And churches that are reaching more people for Jesus have more people in them, and they become a big church. The more people that are sitting in the sanctuary, the more people we're reaching, for Jesus. I mean, you can see the logic. And in order to become a big church, you have to think like a big church. So all of a sudden, all these small churches are going to all these seminars, reading all these books, and they are told, think like a big church. If you want your church to be big, then build a big sanctuary. Build it and they will come. Right? Field of Dreams. Build a baseball diamond and all these old baseball players come out of the cornfield. If we build a big church in the middle of the cornfield, everybody's going to come to it, right? No. Wrong. Pastors were told, if you're not growing as a church, you're not doing it right. That's what they were told. And that's what they are being told today. I read a lot of books. And I've gotten to the point where I will pick up a book or I'll look at the information about a book, and when they start talking about church growth, I put it down. If they start talking about church growth and they're talking about numbers, I put it down. If I pick up a book and they're talking about church growth and they're talking about growing spiritually, I read it. I don't go to seminars where they talk about church growth. I want to go to a seminar where they talk about spiritual growth. Believe me, the industry for church growth is still big. People are still writing books today on how to do it. 10 steps to grow a big church. And the problem, 40 Days of Purpose by our pastor out in Saddleback. Great book. And in fact, in his book, he says, this is not for everybody. But we miss that. Pastors miss that. They say, oh, man, I want to grow. I want to grow this church. We're going to have many numbers. And they did it out in California. And this is the 10 steps they took to do it. If I bring those 10 steps back here and do it, it'll work. No, it won't. Did you know that 93% of American churches are under 350 people? 93% of churches are under 350 people. And 80% are under 200 people. So if those numbers are correct, basically and you go by the church growth movement that says if you're not growing, if you're not getting big, you got a problem, you're not doing something right, then 93% of the churches in America are broken. How is that possible? It's not. They're not broken. Many have become misdirected. See, we get this feeling, we're still feeling these repercussions and the misconceptions about the church growth movement. We as a small church and a small group church pastors are made to feel inadequate. It even happens within our denomination. I'm sad to say. The big churches are looked at as those are the successful churches. And the smaller churches are looked at that those are the ones that are trying to be successful, but they're not because they're small. Not so much in this region. It's not too bad, but it does still happen. Because it's the big church pastors who hold leadership and influence in the many denominations. What the church group movement forgot, the church growth movement forgot, was that many people choose to go to a small church. They choose to come to a small church. And they come for many reasons, not because of the size, not in spite of the size, but because of the size.